So it's been announced today that Joe Joyce will take on Alexander Ustinov on Billy Joe Saunders' undercard. This will be Joe Joyce's first fight after he signed with Frank Warren. So he's now co-promoted by Ringstar in America and by Frank Warren in the UK. This will be Joe Joyce's first fight with Frank Warren. Now, Alexander Ustinov is coming off the back of two losses. One was to Manuel Charr towards the end of 2017 for the WBA regular title, a fight in which he was dropped very heavily in that fight. Made it to the end, lost on points. And there before Christmas on Eddie Hearn's card in Monaco, he was stopped, I think it was 7 rounds, by Michael Hunter. He was down a couple of times in that fight. So, Ustinov, not really a spectacular opponent for Joe Joyce to be fighting. He's better than certain journeymen, definitely. But to be perfectly frank, Ustinov, he's big, he's slow, he's very heavy. He's, lost a good couple of times now at this stage. So am I really keen on seeing Joe Joyce fight Ustinov? Not really. But it might be interesting to see, because this will be the first fight Joe Joyce has had under Adam Booth. So it might be interesting to see how we can assess performance, kind of how different he'll look. Because even though I think Joe Joyce will get rid of Ustinov with relative ease, I hope anyway, Ustinov puts up more of a fight than Bermane Stiverne did in Joe Joyce's last fight, because that really was just hard to watch. It was a human heavy bag against Joe Joyce. So we'll see how Joe Joyce looks in this fight. I'm not really hearing as much talk about him versus Daniel Dubois in July. But, coming into this fight, I maybe will start to hear more about it. Maybe post-fight we'll start to hear more about it. I know he was ringside for Joe Joyce's, or not Joe Joyce, I know Joe Joyce was ringside for Daniel Dubois' fight in the weekend. So it'll be interesting to see kind of where Joe Joyce goes from here moving forward. Realistically, I would actually probably expect Joe Joyce to target someone like an Ajay Kabayel or a Manuel Charr. Even though I think that him versus Daniel Dubois is a good fight for the British title, I think that Joe Joyce is in a position where they want to fast track him. And I really do think that if a shot at, especially if a shot at someone like a Manuel Charr, who is, seen as kind of a weak link in the heavyweight division. I mean, if you want to count the regular title as a title, you can. But let's just say, for argument's sake, it is a title. I think that he'd be really targeting a Manuel Charr as opposed to, a Daniel Dubois. And this would also be interesting to see how Joe Joyce gets rid of Ustinov. Even though Ustinov has been very inactive, he's only fought, like I said, I think twice since the end of 2017, and one of them was Manuel Charr, the other one was Michael Hunter. So Ustinov's not really, I was going to say you could assess his performance against Charr's performance, but it's not really any point in doing that, because the Ustinov is not exactly, a world beater, so it really doesn't make much difference. But anyway, this is an interesting fight. It'd be nice to see how Joe Joyce looks, especially under Adam Booth. This is kind of how I'm keen to see what has Adam Booth changed from Joe Joyce, because with Abel Sanchez is just Mexican style. He loves his fighters to be, come forward, pressure fighters. Doesn't really teach him much defense. Adam Booth, you see it in the likes of Josh Kelly, Ryan Burnett, to an extent Michael Conlon. He's really into, moving, pivoting from the waist, the kind of ambush style. So it'd be very interesting to see how that will work with Joe Joyce. So I'm interested to see this. But anyway, leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think of this fight. Will you be interested? Are you interested in the fight? Will you be watching it? And do you really want to see Joe Joyce versus Daniel Dubois? I would like to see that fight, definitely. And whether we do or not is another story. Let me know what you guys think down below. And as always, I will talk to you after.